All right, looks like we are streaming live on Facebook. So everybody, welcome to our live stream with Laura Meaney, who has a ketamine practice. She was one of our Ketamine Academy students and so graciously volunteered some of her time to talk about what it's like to start up her practice and her entrepreneurial journey so far. And excited to dive in. So if you guys have questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. If you are logged in watching live, I'll periodically check those out. And let me just see if I can scroll. Here they are. So they're in my field of view all the time. So welcome, Laura.
Hi.
So if you don't mind, give everybody a quick intro. Tell us sort of what you're doing, where your practice is, and
Okay.
yeah, then we'll sort of roll with it.
Okay. Well, my name is Laura Meaney, and I got my doctoral in anesthesia a couple of years ago. I was starting to teach, and I did my doctoral thesis in ketamine and for depression. And so I had already been to an ASKP meeting, and I was very excited about it. I think I even met you there, Jason. Awesome. And so, so I started to practice in Wickenburg. Wickenburg's a pretty small town here in Arizona. But it has a very large influx of people coming through all the time, a lot of ropers, a lot of, I guess in high season, we triple in size. And so we do have a lot of people coming through. I was a little bit worried about us having enough people to have practice in, but it has gone very well. We do a lot of patients for depression, chronic pain, anxiety, fibromyalgia. So that's where we're at right now. We've been open since October.
Open since October. Awesome. Mm-hmm. So you did your doctoral thesis on ketamine. Anything, what was it specifically about, out of curiosity?
Protocols for treatment-resistant depression. And mm-hmm. I know that in one of the first meetings we talked about at ASKP was developing kind of a mainstream kind of protocol that everybody that really didn't know where to start, kind of giving them that backbone. And so that's kind of where I got the idea, and that's where I started out with my thesis. So
awesome. So what year was it that you worked on that?
I finished it in 2019.
2019. Mm-hmm. So curious what your findings were. I know JAMA Psychiatry put out their consensus guidelines, which basically had the protocol written right in there. Did you find anything different? I think they sort of summed up the literature that was published in 2017. So
yeah, and I used that a little bit in mine as well. You know, all the literature, it was a huge literature review, and basically what everybody was doing everywhere, and it does just really boil down to 0.5 milligram per kilogram to start at. We're doing it 3 times a week, mm-hmm. And that for 6 treatments. And so that was just the basis of it. And then to increase as patient tolerance or demand needed.
Okay. Awesome. So, yeah, that sounds just like the one that was published by JAMA Psychiatry mm-hmm. in 2017. I think it came out in July of 2017. Mm-hmm. We have 5 people on the live stream. Sorry, the audio wasn't working for the first 30 seconds. So Laura, if you don't mind, there was the audio issue, but I think it should be fixing. If you guys can hear us now, just type in the comments. Just let us know for sure that you can hear us. I'm 90% sure it's good to go, but if you don't mind just giving us another quick intro, because I think some people may have missed it. So where are you at? Where's your practice at? Yep.
I am in Wickenburg, Arizona, and it's a town of about 10,000. But in high season, we go to about 30,000. And so lots of people coming through. We're on the last stop on the way to Las Vegas from Phoenix. So a lot of people come through our town. But I started last October, and that is, it's been 7-8 months now. And so we've been working on people that have depression, anxiety, fibromyalgia, and chronic pain.
Awesome. Now, what's the population size of your greater area?
My capture?
Yeah.
It's probably close to 50,000 people in this area, but we are not that far from Phoenix. So we actually intend to totally be enveloped by it within the next couple of years. But it's a quick drive. It's only 30 minutes. And so really we're just a suburb. And so I have had people come to me that were going to the Valley, and they have talked to the friends in the Valley, people from Surprise that have come up to me. So
mm-hmm. Awesome. And so what was your sort of philosophy when you started your practice? There's a whole bunch of different models that people use. Some like to start lean, very small. Other people hit the ground running and they'll take investment capital and they'll start a really huge practice with tons of rooms, fully staffed, open full time. I'm personally a fan, and what we teach in the Ketamine Academy, more of a lean model, starting small and growing into your practice. What was your strategy?
Well, basically, I did have a partner with the capability of putting a little bit of capital into it. So we did start with a small practice. We have 2 offices for treatment, for ketamine treatment. And then we have another infusion room that holds 2 chairs because we do the model with the IV therapy as well. So we do vitamin therapy in there. So we got probably the least amount we could get. But we weren't so totally lean because we did have a little bit of a bankroll. And so that was kind of nice. And we actually had a little bit of capital to keep paying for everything as we went until we actually started making money. So, and that does take a little while. We probably hit even about 2 months ago. So yeah, well, and we have the crisis, the pandemic going on. There weren't a lot of people coming out, especially in Wickenburg, small town. People were very, very skeptical about going out anywhere. And so for a couple months, we were pretty dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, now that everybody's coming out, it's getting a lot better. So.
Awesome. Well, that's great to hear. So you said Phoenix is only 30 minutes, and Phoenix has a really large population. Have you done like the radius sort of tool that we have in the course where you can get your population within a certain radius?
I did, but it's been so long ago, I don't really remember. But I know that in my, I'm in the north west quadrant, and I know that most people or practices are over in Scottsdale area and the Mesa area and northern Tempe and stuff. And there's only a couple in mid Phoenix, and then now there's just one in the lower southwest quadrant. And so really it's very well distributed. I think that anybody who's closer to them than to me, I would probably refer to them just because of the ease of travel. But we really, for the size of city that we are, we still really have a low volume of ketamine clinics. And so I do have plans to do some down in the central Phoenix area. And then just recently, I was invited to come up to Cottonwood and try to start some up there. So that's kind of fun.
So you're thinking about starting some satellite clinics? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Oh, awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Pretty quick move there. Love it.
Well, fortunately, there are places that I don't really have to do anything. I just have to bring my stuff and they want to do, there's counselors there and they want to do a little bit of counseling. And they want me to do ketamine during that. And I really want to get into ketamine assisted psychotherapy when I'm done with my nurse practitioner mental health. And so, it's all going to be very beneficial for both of us.
Yeah, love it. So your patients now, how far out do you think that they're coming from? Do you think the sort of 45-minute driving radius is pretty accurate? Or are you seeing people coming from?
I think it is.
Yeah.
No, not too much further than that. But my farthest one was from Surprise, and that's about 40 minutes total from where they're from. But just generally, I have people from Wickenburg in my clinic, and people who were going to the Valley and then realized that I was there, and then you're doing it here, I'm going to come over here. So
awesome. And so you did your ketamine thesis, you finished in 2019, and then so there was a little less than a year for you to open. Did you know that when you were done with your doctoral program that you were going to start a ketamine practice? Is that why you chose that project? Yeah.
It was like one of the main goals anyway. I just couldn't believe that it took me, honest to God, it feels like it took an eternity to actually get open. I did take your course and several people in my practice took your course. And so that really, really helped because it made everybody have an understanding of where we were and where we were going and what we wanted to do with it. But yeah, it just felt like it was forever to get open and then to get rolling, because I was so excited about it. But actually it did go pretty fast. So
yeah. Awesome. And so when you started the Ketamine Academy, how long did that process sort of look like for you from getting from like knowing that you were going to start a practice and actually beginning the process to actually having your practice open? Just curious how long of a time frame that was for you.
Okay, so I think I started your class in June, late May, early June. Because of the pandemic, we were at home and we were learning from home and teaching from home and stuff like that. And so that was one of those things I was like, I'm going to do this right now. And so I started doing your course, and I know my nurse started doing your course, and we were done at the end of June, first part of July. And that's when we started ordering stuff and trying to find a place to do it at. And so October is when we actually opened. I wanted to open in September. We just weren't quite ready yet. And so that's about how long it took us.
Yeah, so that's a pretty good time frame. You guys moved pretty quick, 4 to 5 months. Did you have your DEA licenses already, or did you have to start from scratch? I guess maybe you probably had yours. Or
I did. I had mine. And so that was easy enough. But, you know, at the time, it was just for certain institutions. We really just came into, I think it was the year before in Arizona that we came into where we could actually have them and use them. But boy, when I first came over, came back to Arizona, I think it was 2015. They made me surrender it because I'd had it in Texas and it was full use. And then I had to come over here and they made me surrender it. So then I had to get it back. But I got it back right away. And yeah, so I already had one. So that was really, really nice because I could order things. And we do have a medical director. He's a physician that we worked with at the hospital. He's very into it. He's having a great time as well. He's trying to learn how to do ketamine infusions too. He's all excited about it. So it's kind of fun.
Awesome. And so out of curiosity, because we get this question all the time for your medical director or collaborating physician, you said you already knew him, which is helpful. Some people don't know anybody. I typically recommend just making a job post if you don't really know anybody. That tends to work pretty good. There's actually a new website, Collaboration Doctors or something like that, collabdocs.com. Pretty cool service. A couple people have used it, loved it.
Cool.
But one of the biggest questions is how much does it cost to pay? Like, just curious if you don't mind sharing a range that you have, or if you're comfortable sharing your actual number, that's okay too.
Well, we did do quite a search. He would have done it for free. We didn't really want him to do that. And we said, well, we put it out and we looked at what is the average. And I think I was in LinkedIn. And looked at, you know, what is the average that they paid just to be in pretty much in name only, to review charts, to be as a consult. And it was around $20,000. That's what we offered him. He took it gladly. But you know, he was willing to do it for free. But like I said, that seemed to be the mean for just that and not. And so, you know, the thing is too, is they have to have a certain amount of insurance for just being a medical director. But if they have any hands-on, then they have to add to that. As being a active participant. Yeah. So that was something that he was, you know, what kind of insurance do I have to have? And then that was part of wanting to pay for that.
Yep.
So.
Yep. That's right in typically the range that I mentioned to most people. Some have gotten really lucky and have found as low as 500, but the most common is anywhere between 1,000 and 2,000. So that's right in the range that we're seeing too. So cool. So it took you about 4 to 5 months to open. If you don't mind, go into more detail about that. Like, what sort of steps did you take? Were you buying stuff slowly, some of your supplies and things over time to sort of spread out that startup expense? And roughly
no, you know what? So I'm a pretty frugal person, but my partner came in and she had a bankroll of a certain amount, and she really had to, Laura, you're going to buy stuff. Laura, start buying stuff. And I was like, I just, you know, I was getting kind of sick about it, thinking this is getting to be, you know, a little bit more than I wanted to spend. Because I really thought I would keep it under like 35,000 just to have everything that we needed to go for a couple months, you know, and have all of we wanted to have some monitors. We wanted to have pumps. Obviously the IV infusion pumps, those are by the Arizona Ketamine Board. They demand that you have infusion pumps and that everybody be monitored. And so all of those things, we wanted to have AED. We wanted to have all of our emergency drugs. We wanted to have a hood, all of those things, plus supplies that we would need for the vitamin therapy and things like that. So we just really, honestly, it was just like all we could do to just keep ordering, keep things coming in, and then go in and set it up. But we were very, very fortunate. We found a place to rent. I started renting that in July of last year, and it was only $1,000 a month, which was
that's great.
Phenomenal, because the other places I looked at were over 2,000, 2,500.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was really cool. So I got a 3-month lease on that, and very nice people. And I didn't have to do like a triple net or anything like that. It's a nice area of town. And so, but yeah, we just slowly kind of started putting those things together. But the thing was, trying to even figure out, okay, I need a business license for the city. Do I need a business license for the county or the state? Blah, blah, blah. And so all of those things, obviously, Jason, I called you with a lot of questions. If I didn't quite understand it in the course, then I would call you. But yeah, we just slowly just kept doing things and putting it together. And when we finally moved in and spread everything around and realized, it's really real and we're doing it, and we were so excited, and we had a big grand opening and stuff like that. But yeah, it took a couple months just to get everything in and to get it set up, and then have, of course, we obviously had your policy and procedure manual, and we had that to even just get that through that and put our name in all the little spots and get it printed and things like that. And so, everything. And then, I guess part of the big deal was trying to get our website going, and we did use Patient Pop. We had them for a little while, and then they're, it wasn't quite as user-friendly as we wanted it to be. So we ended up going over to Ketamine Media. We did have a little bit of a lapse time. And I can tell you right now, that is deadly. You need to be online, and you need to have your SEO running, or else you'll have nobody knocking. It's very, very important. And I saw a huge surge in volume after we got Ketamine Media up and running, because we'd been dark for a couple months, I think.
Yeah.
So
when it comes to your location, you got a great monthly rent. When I had my practice, it was just a little bit less than that. It was just, I think it was like $940 or $920 a month for small office space, including the utilities, which was even better. What did your office look like, and where was that location as far as like, was it in more of like a shopping mall kind of area that has lots of foot traffic, or was it more in a medical office building? What did that look like for you?
Okay, so we have, there's a big strip called Wickenburg Way, and it's very, very busy. And we are in a little L-shaped kind of a strip mall. And there's a hearing aid place, there's a massage place, there's a vitamin area, there's a home health care, and there's a tax office. And so, and I think there's an attorney's office and maybe an insurance place. So it's kind of one of those. It does get quite a bit of foot traffic, especially because the massage therapy, they just seem like to have bonker business over there. So people see us all the time, but in all honesty, it's not a place where people would just walk by and say, oh, what is that? So I had to do a lot of different advertising, as well as the online. It was about using their hometown newspaper, because I know personally from living there that everybody looks at the newspaper. And so we did use the Wickenburg Sun, and we use some of their advertising flyers that are through the Wickenburg Sun, the health and wellness issue. I get a lot of patients from there. And then we have the Wickenburg Way thing that the town uses and their advertising, and they send it out to all these places, and we are advertised at not the first page but the second page in there. Okay. And those things have really brought us good business. People see those, people look at what that's all about, and we get a lot of calls. Well, what is this and what are you doing? And then some people who are really used to having vitamin infusions, or even want to have ketamine treatments, they were then calling and asking more. So we had to use a lot of different types of things like that.
Yeah, sort of diversifying your marketing is definitely great. That's great to hear that you're getting some really good results from various papers and more traditional types of marketing. When I had my practice, Facebook wasn't super stringent on the use of the word ketamine. Now they've gotten very strict, which makes it much more challenging to run ads for a ketamine practice. You can still do it. You just have to be super creative. And you got to make sure that the landing page copy and your advertisements copy falls within their guidelines. So you just have to be a little bit more vague, essentially. But that's great that you're having good results with newspapers and things like that. Love it.
Yeah, I was going to say that my first Facebook page was shut down. And it's still there, but I can't change it or do anything with it. And So when Ketamine Media picked me up, they're building a new page, and they seem to have really good burst ads and stuff. And they do a lot of blogging and things like that. So it's really kind of nice. As well, Osmind, I have the EMR Osmind, and I get all the perks with that. Those guys are great. And I don't know where I'd be without them on that, because there's so many benefits to having that set up.
Yeah, the Osmind mood tracker is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I love that part of the patient follow-up. It's all automated, so you don't have to manually try and follow up, because that saves a ton of labor hours. Now, when you got your office, did you have to do any renovations? Like when I had mine, we had to rip out the carpet, we painted the walls, we built the wall. What kind of renos did you have to do? Anything?
No, actually, it was beautiful. It was perfect already. We didn't have to do anything. We hung pictures up. It was already really nice. It was the tax office before, and they went bigger. So they had several little offices already. We even have a back area where we have a bathroom and our bedroom, and it's just perfect.
That's amazing. You're getting a lot for $1,000 a month. And so
I know.
What's the square footage on that one?
It's right at 888.
Okay, nice. Yeah, it's a little bit bigger than mine. Love it. And are you pretty busy? Are you thinking about moving from there anytime soon? You think you'll have to?
Well,
You think it'll last you a while?
I think we're going to give it the year and see if we burst. If we can, there's maybe one other spot in the same area that we could put our infusion center in, and we could just expand our ketamine into the one office and have an infusion center over there.
Oh, great.
So we could probably do that if we needed to.
Is that in the same building?
It's just right on the corner there.
Yeah, that's great. Cool. Yeah, when we had ours too, we were like, okay, we're going to run out of room quick. What can we do? What can we do? We went over to the neighbors. We're like knocking on the door. We're like, we noticed nobody's here hardly. Do you think you could give us some of your space? We'll knock down the wall with that square footage. And they're like, no, thanks. So we kept looking for different options. But yeah, that's awesome. I love it. So you mentioned that there was an Arizona ketamine board. This is the first I've heard of that. What is that about? Who runs it?
Well, okay. So, my preceptor coming through my doctoral program at Midwestern University, where I now teach, Lee Rinaldi, he was on the AANA, president of the AANA in Arizona here. And he was also on the board, the nursing board of Arizona. So they had put together this ketamine council, and there's certain specifications and stuff, because they really wanted to make sure that everybody was kind of minding the rules and making sure that they were well monitored and well directed, so that we didn't have just like maybe even nursing opening up a clinic and putting up a sign and things like that. There were certain rules. And so specifically had to be medically supervised, ketamine had to be on a pump, and basically have all your basic monitoring, have oxygen available, but things like that. And when they first put that out, they really actually knew very little about ketamine infusions. And so it was kind of helpful for Lee to be my preceptor during the doctoral program, because he read about all this research while we were doing that. So it was kind of, he really enjoyed that. And I think that, it's put together a really good basis for us to have. But, we keep hoping and praying for CRNAs to become independent in the state. We did opt out, but that doesn't necessarily mean we're independent and can function otherwise. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to go back from my nurse practitioner role. But as well, I decided to, I want to learn a lot more about mental health and the patients that I was going to be treating and dealing with, and all the medications that they're on. And so I will be doing clinical for them for a little while before I have that degree, but very helpful. So
awesome. So that board, is that more of like a sort of a guideline sort of board, or is that something that's like run by the state that has to be met for you to have a ketamine?
Yeah, I believe that it's the State Board of Nursing. If any nurses or CRNAs are practicing without those guidelines, that they will come in and shut you down and cite you.
Cool. I think that's great that they're doing that, because
it just keeps it safe.
Yeah. Helps prevent people from ruining the reputation of the ketamine, because it works so well for the patients. You don't want people out there. I mean, I've seen some YouTube videos where patients were completely unmonitored, unsupervised in a closed room, recording themselves on YouTube with an IV that was just adjusted by the little clip thing there.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I was like, that seems really risky. Can't believe people are doing that and letting their patients record the whole thing. Cool. So the American Association of Nurse Anesthetists, I don't know if you saw, I guess you probably would have, about a year ago, I think, or maybe even longer, put out just a statement, a joint statement with the American Association of Psychiatric Nurse Practitioners, recommending or basically creating a guideline that CRNAs should be collaborating if they're treating mental health patients with a mental health clinician.
Right. And that's what we encourage all of our patients that come in, especially if they're for psychiatric reasons, anxiety disorders, anything like that, that they have a collaborating counselor or physician that is dealing with their medications as they go through ketamine treatments. And if they have any questions or anything, they can call us and we can talk with them about that, as well as I provide them with their ketamine infusion records and show them, what we've done and how well they've done, and then their adjustments on like their PHQ-9s and things like that. So the collaboration is key.
Yeah, love it. And so what did your office's schedule look like? Did you start part-time? Did you just go ahead and go full-time? Are you still working in the OR? How do you run that?
So I have a lot of hats, but I also have a lot of help. So it's really, really nice. We did start just Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We added Tuesday and Thursday in latter January. And then now, since we're kind of a seasonal town, we're going to go down to summer hours. We're going to be open Tuesdays and Thursdays for the infusion and the injections that we do. And then by appointment on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But I know that I'm going to be there Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, especially most mornings, because that's when we do ketamine infusions. I obviously will always come in the evenings or on the weekends, but I owe quite a bit of my time to the university. And so I do that, and we do lecture and lab and things like that. And a lot of it's online, but now we're getting back to lecturing in person. And then as well as anesthesia, I just do 1 weekend a month now. I do OB, and I do about 72-hour weekend. And that's, just to kind of help me survive while all this is up and going. So, yeah.
Awesome. So we have a few viewers. I just want to encourage them. If you guys have any questions that you have for Laura or myself, feel free to drop them in the comments. We will happily answer those if we have the answer. Anthony just left a comment moments ago. He said he's in Glendale. Is that near you? Okay. He said
that's by the university there.
Okay. He opened in January. Anthony Waru.
Cool. Yeah, I think I saw that.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
Awesome. So when it comes to staffing, you mentioned that you have some good help, which is always lovely. What does your staffing look like for your practice?
I have 2 nurses that have been doing PACU for over 20 years. So they're really good IV starters. They're 2 of my best friends, and they're all in the dream with me. So they don't require a lot from me. They know that I'm a busy person, but I also trust them with everything. They're very, very good girls, and they're very well trained. And so all of the IV therapy is run by them. And so if we do anything new or different, we always collaborate. We started NAD just recently, and so that was kind of fun. And people have been wanting alpha lipoic acid, so we're looking into that, doing a little research with that. But other than that, they are very well versed. And if somebody calls and asks about ketamine, and they give them, the skinny, and then they say, "And here's Laura's number." Call her and talk to her, and she can come in, and you can sit down and talk with her. And I also, I use Kimberly, and I have a hard time saying her last name, that Juravetsky. She's on our Facebook collaboration page. She has a publication, and it tells our patients about ketamine and the questions that you might have. I actually have a lot of those copies, and I give them out to my patients because it really does answer a lot of questions, and it gives me, I can just answer the questions they have from that instead of having to explain everything in depth. And so that really does help.
Oh, cool. Is that short book that she wrote? Help explain.
Yeah, she's got a newer version now too. So yeah, I really like it. People really enjoy it, and they read it from cover to cover. They're just ready to see what's going on with it. So it covers a lot.
Yeah, it's written in a simplistic sort of form with love non-medical jargon, which is sweet. So you mentioned IV therapy and how that is going well for you. How long have you been doing that for?
Same. We opened and we started with that. And I actually, I love the way you presented that and the way it was a very good marriage of the two, because you have a lot of everything that you need for both of those businesses. And I kept thinking, well, that's going to actually help me pay my nurses while I wait for ketamine clients to come in. Yeah. And it did. It really, really helped us to, have that extra cash to buy more materials and vitamins and whatever, but also to pay our nurses. So.
Yeah, it was such a good marriage of the two complementary services. Essentially, we had patients that were coming in for ketamine saying, "Hey, we saw this IV therapy practice down the road. Do you guys do that?" And we were like, "No, we don't do that." But then we hired a nurse practitioner, Casey, who was super interested in it. So she learned and she implemented it, and she's actually the partner in the course now, the IV Therapy Academy course. And it just makes sense, right? You have all the IV supplies there, so why not learn how to give additional IVs and keep your infusion chairs full?
And there's some, infusions that we do for our ketamine patients along with it, and they just love it. I mean, there's one guy that I have that I give him the Myers treatment while he's getting his ketamine treatment, and he swears by it. He says it's so much better than ketamine alone. So okay, and it does. I mean, it seems to work for him, and whatever that takes.
Awesome. Out of curiosity, do you have an IT infrastructure? You just have kind of like laptops and some desktops. What's that look like for you guys?
We have our desk computer where we do our intake that's hooked up to our point of service device for taking in our payments and stuff. And then we have 2 iPads. And I'm not totally integrated on it yet, but I have my Osmind on there. I would like to have all of my intake documents in there so we could just hand a patient or a IV therapy customer an iPad. They can check through and we'd have it all online. But we started with paper. And so I would like to switch over entirely this summer because it just makes it cleaner.
Cool. Love it. Good to know. I didn't realize Osmind was iPad or tablet compatible. That's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
It works very well.
Yeah, for sure. Because you can have the patients filling out their forms while they're waiting for whatever. Yeah, I love it. That's great. We had all paper charts in our practice. I love the idea of having that electronic follow-up though. That's all documented. And then you can set up notifications for yourself if you get a concerning response from a patient. I just think that's such a better way.
Yeah, and it goes right to my phone. So your patient scored low on a PHQ-9 or had notes of suicidality. And it comes right to my cell phone. And so then I just call them right then and there. And I say, how you doing? So it's great.
That's awesome. So Patricina's on chat and she says, this is so encouraging. Have you had any patients complain about the side effects of ketamine multiple days after the infusion?
Generally, the side effects that I've had were for nausea. And I have oral Zofran. But I also, and that I send home with them just in case. And then I also give them Zofran during or before or during the infusion. Some of them I've had to give Zofran Decadron. Some of them I had to give Zofran before and after. The other side effect that we have generally is that somebody has to go to the bathroom halfway through. Yeah. And so I always make everybody start there and then come in and sit down. I've only really had a couple that have had headaches, slammer headaches. And then I add mag to the infusion and I don't have it. So those are the things that I've come up with.
Yeah. Personally, I never had anybody have any side effects days after. Usually those are gone within hours after the infusion. And most common for me, again, well, just like you said, nausea, hypertension during the infusion. So we just make sure that they're taking their blood pressure medications beforehand. A lot of clinics now, if it's sort of a reoccurring thing where the patient keeps coming in and getting a high blood pressure, then they'll just pre-treat them with some clonidine PO.
That's what I do. Yeah, I actually send them home with it, say take it in the morning before you come, and then it works out really well. It actually really well. So
cool. Well, I love it. Furniture, equipment, and stuff like that. Just rough numbers. What do you think you had to invest up front to get started? And how many infusion stations did you have?
I have two ketamine chairs and two infusion chairs.
Mhm.
We bought two large recliners and two small ones just so we could fit everybody. We have 4 IV pumps and 3 monitors. We went with the monitors that you had talked about. They were like $900 a piece.
Oh, they raised
And then,
they raised the price a bit.
Yeah. Well, I think we went $789, but then inevitably it was right about that for shipping and handling and all that stuff. Exactly. So, but sincerely, I think that kind of equipment, a couple $100, we went with Wayfair chairs and, things like that. And so just generally rounded figure, probably about 5,000 took care of all that stuff. So we really, 1, 2, 3, we had used IV pumps, there's syringe pumps, and each one of those was anywhere between $680 and $800. We got them from a couple different vendors. So yeah, I mean, the chairs were the cheapest thing, just because, but they have heat and massage and everything. And so that were pretty cool. But we got little IV carts and all that stuff too, kind of like you had, because we saw those on your video and I thought, oh, those are cool, and then we could just roll them right up to them. And so yeah, definitely for everything, all the furniture and everything, like even an intake counter for reception, for an IV table to mix meds and stuff like that. I would say probably right around 8,000 total. And then I had a lot of, shelving and, furniture that we use, like an old desk that I had and a file cabinet, things like that. Those are things that I had at my house. And so we used a lot of that stuff because we wanted to kind of keep it lean.
Awesome. Yeah, that online marketing is so key, as far as just having good search engine optimization and making sure that you show up in the top 3 results of Google for a local search. Yeah. And on Google Maps, it's like the #1 way people are going to find you, because most of the patients who are looking for ketamine, they already know that they want it. Somebody already told them about it. They did their own research online. That's what I found anyways. And so they'll go on Google and type in ketamine practice near me or ketamine practice, name of your city, Wickenburg. And so you want to make sure if you start a practice that you can show up there in the top 3, 90 something percent, I think it's 95 or 96% of clicks come in those top 3 search results. So,
right.
Yeah. Yep.
That makes it really nice. And, Ketamine Media has a little page where they show me all of the people and where they've come from and what they got it off of, if it was from our Facebook or our Instagram, because they've linked those things. And so it's kind of helpful for us to know, where they came from and what they saw. But it's really, you can see how they've just risen up, and it's not been up for very long. It's probably been up for a month and a half, 2 months now. And you can see where it started from and then how fast it went up. And you just have to know the keywords. And I didn't know any of that stuff. Honest to God, I really tried to do it for the 2 months by myself. It's so hard, and they know everything. They know how to do it. I let them do it because I'm busy over here,
Yeah. And that's the beauty of finding a marketing company that specializes in the treatments that you offer. So somebody like Ketamine Media, or we've actually recently met some individuals from Beyond Marketing who they started specializing in ketamine and now TMS, and now they've expanded to ketamine, and they do a wonderful job as well. But that makes a huge difference, especially if they're running paid ads, because they've figured out how to work the language and the copy and the landing page to make sure that they can still run paid ads. A layperson like you and me, we just don't have time to figure out all those strategies. So it's easier just to have an experienced company.
Right.
What they're doing. Yeah.
And anything that I've learned in business, in which I didn't know very much to begin with, I learned a lot of it from you. And then since then from all the people who have been coming along and giving me good advice. But it was like, if you don't know, you need to hire somebody that does know, and you need to listen to them and learn from them.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of like learning the basics, so that way you can speak the language a little bit and make sure that nobody's taking advantage of you or giving you the runaround or something. But as long as you know the basics, gosh, you've
well,
a lot of time. Okay.
To speak to that, I have a really, really good accountant. I have a wonderful advisor of an attorney.
Mhm.
And I know you said this over and over again in your course, and I cannot stress it enough. You need to have those kind of people to tell you what you don't know.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what you don't know. And then all of a sudden you're going, really? I got to do that too. So they keep you out of trouble.
Yeah.
So it's important.
Cool. So what's the most rewarding thing about running this practice? Maybe a rewarding patient experience. What's rewarding about owning your own clinic? What do you love most about it?
Well, I have to tell you, being from anesthesia, you know how it is when your patients are happy.
Mhm.
And the to have a patient stand up, and just yesterday, I've been working on this guy. He's kind of tough, and finally got him to a point where he said he stood up after ketamine, and he said, that's the first time I've stood up out of a chair and it didn't hurt in a long time. And honest to God, he had a little tear and I had a little tear. And so it's very rewarding to see someone, feel better. But my father was my first patient. Mm-hmm. And he had depression, and he had chronic pain, and he was not doing well. And I knew I had to do something. And so I said, Dad, come up and just give it a go. And he goes, I trust you, Laura, let's go. And so we got done with his, and my dad smiles now. He goes golfing, and he couldn't golf more than 9 holes once a week. Now he goes twice a week for 18. So he's a happy camper.
Yeah.
And so those things are the most rewarding for me, is to see people get back into their lives and to have happier days. And that's what I'm here for, just to kind of spread the good word of ketamine everywhere. So yeah, it's very rewarding.
Exactly. The efficacy is so great. And when you get those patients that really do well and respond well to the treatment, oh my gosh, it's so amazing. We had patients literally completely in tears giving us hugs that they felt so much better. They had regained their ability to start enjoying their hobbies and do some fun things again, where before they just weren't doing it because they were so depressed. So that's absolutely amazing. We actually still have the mom of one patient still sends us cards and calls us.
Oh.
Crazy. She's so appreciative that we were able to help her son. So
it's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. So we are just about out of time. I really appreciate everything. This was wonderful. Thank you for taking the time to.
No problem. I owe a lot to you, Jason. I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. The people that I help, thank you. And I just had one of my girlfriends call me from anesthesia school, and she goes, I want to do that too. And I just gave her your name. So I said, go online and take Jason's course, because that's where you start.
Awesome. I love it, Laura. Well, thank you. Any final words of wisdom or inspiration or advice for those who are considering starting before we sign off?
Stick to it. It's all about the mission and not about the money. And it is very much, it's a time and tincture. You have to be open for a certain period of time before it starts making money. So just be prepared for that, and, suck it up and stick it out.
Love it.
Yep.
Awesome, Laura. Well, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it, like I said. And I don't see any more questions. I think we covered Kelly's. Kelly, we covered yours in the beginning. So once this stops, it'll render, and then you can go back and watch the replay. She was asking about marketing. Cool. Well, we'll sign off. And thanks again, Laura. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, Jason.
Talk to you
Take
soon.
care.
Bye.